All right. Hey, everyone. This is KG Reyes. Follow me on TikTok in order to get the latest reviews of short form um, analyses on books that I read. I am a lover of books and I mainly read books that are written by, Black, Indigenous people of color, both men and women. I started this because I don't really feel like TikTok gives me enough time to really dissect the stories that I'm most interested in, and I can't be the only one who feels like that. And even if I am the only one who feels like that, I like this record keeping sort of way of me being able to discuss and have some discourse with whoever comments in the comments once you listen to this video, and just be able to really take deep dives into some of the best works of fiction that I've been able to read lately. Okay, so today's podcast, I'm going to start with a book that I feel like is super accessible, especially for those who aren't really ready to dive into more indie authors or take risks with unknown authors. This book that we'll be discussing today will be Blockshot by Kennedy Ryan. Kennedy Ryan, I would say most people know her from the book Before I Let Go, which was also an awesome book. And hopefully, I'll have the opportunity to dissect in another podcast. But for today, we're going to discuss Blockshot, which is the second book in her Hoop series. Hoop series has 3 books. I read Longshot already, but I really thought that Blockshot would be something that I had to come to the mic to discuss with other people. All right. So, first and foremost, I guess I can go ahead and start with the summary of what Blockshot is about. For those of you who aren't really familiar with it, I guess we'll just read the back of the book in order to help get acclimated to at least what the story is supposed to generally be about. All right, so it is a standalone story in the Hoop series. You'll see a lot of the characters from Longshot to Blockshot to the third one, Hookshot. You'll see a lot of them intersect and make cameos within the entirety of the Hoop series. But this is a standalone romance, it's an enemies to lovers romance. Um, and here is the summary. There's two sharks. There are two sharks in a fish tank. Jared, if I had $1 for every time Banner Morales made my heart skip a beat, the heart everyone assumes is frozen over. Her anger is arousing. Every glare from those fire spitting eyes, every time she grits her teeth gets me. Well, if I had $1 for every time she's put me in my place, I'd be an even richer man. I'm a successful sports agent because I assume no means you'll think about it. I'm sure what you meant to say is coming right up. They say even rich men don't always get what they want, but those men don't know how to play the game. The trick is to keep them guessing. Take Banner. She assumes she's winning, but this game she doesn't even know how to play. All right, so they go into Banner. It says, Banner, if I had $1 for every time Jared Foster broke my heart, I'd have exactly $1. One night, one epic fail, $1. And I'm out. I've moved on. I found success in a field ruled by men. Anything they can do, I have done better. They can keep the field while I call the shots, blocking them when I have to. And Jared has the nerve to think he gets a second chance. Boy, please, go sit down. Have several seats. I'll just be over here ignoring the man carved for my fantasies with lust-tipped chisel. Oh, I didn't say the struggle wasn't real, but I've got that $1 and Jared won't have me. Okay, so based on that, we are able to see that Banner is, structured as this powerful woman, and we're going to see her boss lady, Jazz happen the entire story. almost, right? Okay, so let's start off. So the book starts off with Jared trying to get into this society. It's called the Pride. It's similar to like the Skull and Bones. They're in college at this Ivy League college, and he's trying to get into it. So he's done everything he's needed to do so far to get into this group. And the last challenge he has to do is to have sex with a fat chick, is what the leader of the group tells him. So he's thinking, okay, this is weird, until he finds out who the fat chick is that he's supposed to have sex with. We find out that Jared, in this last senior year, because it's senior year, we find out that he just happened to like this girl named Banner Morales. They're in like this debate class, and she speaks like three languages. She speaks, Russian, Italian, Spanish, English, and he's just intrigued by her. And he just realized that this year. So he and Banner study a few nights in a row at this laundromat that Banner works at, and she washes the clothes of students for money, and she's really smart and she studies. All right, so it turns out that Banner actually has liked Jared since freshman year of college, when he asked to borrow a pencil, or she offered him a pencil or something. So there's a discrepancy, right? So Banner has liked him since freshman year. He just got into her. Mind you, he's like been dating this blonde, really hot girl, all this time. But he and Banner have been friends. So once the leader of the organization tells him that he needs to hunch Banner, he starts getting livid, he's upset, and he, almost beats the guy up and says, "No, I want out. I'm not going to do that." So after he does that, he takes his laundry bag and his backpack, and he treks to the laundromat to go hang out with Banner and to study. She ends up telling him, and we're told like Banner is like a bit chubby, and she's, overweight a little bit, and she wears like baggy clothes, so she's not typically the beauty standard we would see socially. But for whatever reason, Jared is attracted to her brains. So Banner ends up essentially just letting Jared know that she got this coveted internship at the sports management agency in New York, and this is going to be her last semester at the school, because the internship is going to take that whole semester. So this is where I'm getting like confused, because it starts to like unfold rather quickly, and I don't feel like the foundation has been completely laid out for us to understand why Banner would behave in this way, and why Jared would think that right at this moment, when he finds out that Banner is leaving for an internship, Jared then decides that, you know what, tonight is the night that I'm going to like basically try to hunch Banner. Which is weird, because it's like, I mean, the irony. If you really liked her, she was going to this internship in New York. You guys have been, spending time together as friends. Why not take the steps to get to know each other more? See if you can, date long distance, because she's like so great to you. You really like her. Why not try to take the steps to date long distance and to see where things take you, so you can really see if this is someone that you really want to be with. But no, Jared ends up enticing Banner, which is a little bit shocking too, because it's almost like, yeah, you've been swooning over him since freshman year of college. However, the second that he shows you any ounce of interest, you're like already okay to spread it wide for him. I don't know. That kind of, I didn't connect with me, because based on how she's described, it's it's weird that she would be, she's very smart, she's intelligent. She's a Mexican American who got into this Ivy League school, has been swooning over this guy, and the one chance that he, tells her that he's interested, even after he's been like dating a million girls on the campus all this time, now, is the time that you guys are gonna do the do. All right. So they end up doing the do, and lo and behold, this I kind of felt like it was an obvious thing, which is fine because it's all right to have some aspects in a story be obvious. So as they have done the do, um, the friends from the Pride group that he was about to join, which he specifically told them he's not interested in joining anymore, they bust through the laundromat door and they end up seeing Banner in the nude. And obviously, it shows that Jared has sealed the deal, and they're like, dude, you're in. You hunched the fat chick. So Jared ends up like really being apologetic to Banner. It's like, no, it's not like that. It is really super inconvenient. And then she's like, you know what? I never want to talk to you again. He tries to beg for her forgiveness. She closes the door on him when she goes to her own apartment. She tells him she never wants to see him again. And her neighbor comes out and she's like, call the police on this guy. I never want to see him again. 10 years have passed, I think. Yeah, I think it says 10 years. So 10 years have passed, or a little bit more than that. And, Banner is a force to be reckoned with in the sports management world. And this is because a rookie sports player who happened to speak Spanish was in the office of the place she was interning in. And, the sports agent called her as an intern into the office to translate what the guy was saying. So once the guy figured out she speaks Spanish, and he was like, so the rookie, the company wanted him to sign with them, and the rookie goes to Banner and says, hey, I will sign with you guys if she's my agent. But the boss is like, she's not even, an agent. She's just an intern. And he's like, well, I'm pretty sure that I can have her when she's, a real agent. I'll sign a provisional contract, whatever. So this one signing ends up helping to catapult Banner with this guy, and this guy, he's like, they call him the patron saint of the NBA. He's a really nice guy. He really likes to help, and his entire family, died, and all he had is Banner. All right, and him and Banner are best friends, and then they end up, getting into a relationship. Like in the present time of the story that we're in, Banner is in a relationship with the guy that helped her get her recognition 10 years ago. So, I mean, as we're reading, we don't really get like the heat of, Banner in this guy. Like, you would think that, she would consider him to be like so dreamy, whatever. There's not really a lot of talk with Banner and this guy, which is, it is what it is. So this happens, right? So she's dating the guy, and she gets an office so she now moves, or her boss opened a new office in LA, which is where Jared's office is. Jared owns his own office. And then so now they reconnect somehow. So one of Banner's clients and Jared's clients decide that they want to do a fundraiser of some sort, and so Banner and Jared have to work together, and this is how Jared gets his way in with Banner. All right, so my thing with this book is, so Jared does a lot to try to get Banner's attention, and unfortunately, it does end up working in his favor because he ends up getting, Banner in the end. My thing is with this book is that it's just, Jared is literally a glorified side piece because the entirety of the book is him chasing after Banner while Banner keeps telling him she's in a relationship with the NBA player. She's in a relationship. She can't do this. She can't do that. Like, she can't, be flirting with him or can't be flirted with because of this relationship. But, realistically, I don't really see that Banner tried all that much to make sure that her and Jared's relationship maintained this platonic place. I feel like Banner did not do a good enough job of giving Jared boundaries. And realistically, the way the banner is described, we think that she's like this boss chick. You know, she's amazing. She's strong-willed. She knows how to get what she wants. She works, really hard. She doesn't let these guys get in her way. Yet she lets Jared, kind of get in her head. Like all she thinks about is him now, and he's like going through her mind, and it's like, all right, got it. There's like this first love aspect. It's like she's swooned over him since, all throughout college, and then that terrible thing happened senior year. We get it. However, it's almost like mentally Banner and, I'd say Jared are stuck in this like past tense where I feel like Jared has really tried to pursue Banner while she's in this relationship in order to sort of rid himself of the terrible guilt that he feels for letting her get caught the way that she did in the laundromat in front of those guys. Jared and Banner's relationship is extremely toxic because a lot of times Jared will say things like, "Oh, you're the only one I care about. Oh, I don't care about anybody." Because she's like, "You know what? I have a boyfriend." He's like, "I don't care. I saw you first. I had you first. You're going to be mine." But it's like, okay, Banner, you're this like strong woman empowered person, and you're going to let, essentially this douche tell you what you need in your life. And I also feel like Banner is a little stunted because it's like, you know, at what point do you realize that a toxic guy is not something that is a long term? Although obviously they have their happily ever after. But we know as women now that a lot of times girls like the bad guys until, the bad guys got them, stressed out, bald headed, in jail, or dead. And it's like we know the whole bad boy thing is like kind of cool when you're in high school, when you're in college, and stuff like that, even as you date in your early 20s. But for Banner and Jared, they are described to be in like their early 30s. For them, or at least for Banner, because I'm assuming she's just more mature. For her to be this woman with a career, a strong career, a good head on her shoulder, and to be in a relationship with this really good guy who has values, who she's known for 10 years. It's like crazy for her to just go ahead and jump into this toxic relationship with this guy who could care less about the fact that one, you're in a relationship, two, every time you tell him no, you can't do something, he just continues to push you, to doing it. It's extremely toxic. The worst part about the story is, all right, got it. So, Banner and Jared, they are, trying to live out this, first love thing going on. And it's like, dude, Banner, go ahead and be with Jared if that's what you want to do. But to sit here and to cheat on this guy that you really, seems to like you, it's almost like, what's happening. Yeah, Jared is not the best guy to be with, but if you're going to end up being with him, why not just break up with the patron saint, boyfriend, and tell him, this is not working before you cheat on him. So she ends up cheating on him, and like a dummy, instead of like, maybe breaking up with a boyfriend and saying, you know what, this is not just working, and then, pushing forward, she decides to relieve herself of the guilt of the, you know, thing that she did and drop the guilt on the boyfriend and tell the boyfriend that she cheated on him, to put the onus on him to break up with her instead of her breaking up with him like a grown adult should do. Obviously, he's upset and, he doesn't like it, and he breaks up with her. And this, is obviously going to affect how their business relationship works as well, because he is her company's biggest client. Long story short, shortly after, her and Jared take a tryst into the Caribbean like two 18-year-olds who've just graduated college and have not tasted the fruits of life yet. They have this tryst in the Caribbean of like hunching for however many days, and she gets a phone call from her boss saying that the client, which is her boyfriend, his name is Zoe, so we'll just call him Zoe, Alonzo Vidal. Okay, so we call him Zoe in the book. So the client ends up going to the hospital. So she's upset about that because he doesn't like being in the hospitals because his entire family died, while they're in the hospital. All right, so she ends up going there. Obviously, he's upset. He doesn't want to see her, but she's like, listen, it's in the contract that, I am in charge of you, until you find a new representation person. Obviously, Jared is upset that she left the Caribbean to go help her ex boyfriend, and Jared continues to fight with himself, but doesn't really understand that you're never going to be able to be blessed with the whole of something when you got it the wrong way. So for the entirety or the majority of the story, Banner is pulled in two different directions. One with her ex boyfriend, ex best friend, and Jared, who she said she wants to be in a relationship with. So she goes to the hospital and finds out that the best friend slash ex boyfriend, Zoe, the NBA player, actually has, a life threatening disease, which is affecting his organs and has 6 months to 2 years to live. So, she ends up being really distraught. And as his agent, she finds, the medical facilities that he needs to go to and stuff like that. And it's far away. And the guy ends up telling her, look, I know you cheated on me. This guy really has a good heart. I know you cheated on me, but just put on hold whatever you got going on with this guy because I need to fight for my life and I can't do it while I'm fighting for you. So can you just stop hunching him, stop seeing him, and focus on me? Which I'm just like, okay, yeah, all right, sure. So Banner goes and says, okay, yeah, I'll do it. So she ends up telling Jared, and Jared is pissed off. He's like, oh my God, you can't do this. Don't you see he's doing it because he still wants to be with you? But Banner is like, you know what? I have loyalty. Well, she has like loyalty in a sense of like being a friend because she's definitely not a good girlfriend. She's a cheating girlfriend. But nonetheless, she tells Jared she has loyalty to Zoe and she's going to go live in this place with him where he can get his treatment for 3 months. Long story short, she goes there and he like deteriorates like really awfully. It's really sad to hear these parts happen. And then her and Jared don't see each other for a while. And then so she's at the place with the best friend, ex boyfriend who's like deteriorating Zoe. And then after 6 weeks of I guess limited conversations with Jared, Jared ends up calling Banner and is like, hey, um, I'm in town. I want to see you. And she's like, okay. And she's like, come over. So he ends up coming over. But since Zoe is like so ill anyway and so weak and decrepit, he's not even, I think he's like sleeping now when she lets him in. And he doesn't really walk too well, as we understand. So they go into the pantry and they do a little finagling with one another. He tries to hunch her and Banner is just like, you know what, I can't lie to him. I'm not gonna lie to him. But Jared pushes her to hunch, anyway, but he ends up stopping because he had a conversation with his brother about how just because he doesn't care about stuff doesn't mean that he should, force Banner to do stuff that mean a lot to her, or she's not going to be the person that he actually really cares about now, which, somewhat makes sense. So he doesn't, move forward with her. She ends up going upstairs to get this phone call, and then she tells him to wait in the house. So lo and behold, he's waiting on the couch like he owns the place. And then Zoe ends up calling his name and he's standing right in front of him. Long story short, Zoe finds out and tells him, you know what, I know you're the one that she cheated on me with. But you see who she's with now. She's here in this house with me, so bye. Jared gets upset and he just leaves. He doesn't, say too much because he sees how sick the guy is. He's near death, really. So Zoe ends up getting, like a few months pass after that. Zoe ends up getting, slightly better with his chemotherapy, and then they go to like the SB Awards. Zoe starts making this declaration on the stage in front of everybody. He tells Banner to come up because nobody knows that they're no longer together. Before he got sick, they were dating publicly. People knew it, but they decided not to tell people that they broke up just because they wanted to focus on him getting better. So he makes this public declaration of love for her on the stage. And then she gets upset with him in backstage and is like, why did you do that? And he's like, I love you and stuff like that. And then she's like, okay, whatever. And he's like, you're not going to be, with Jared because, this, that, and the third. And she's like, well, how did you know it was him? He was like, I knew, all this time. Long story short, Jared ends up going into the female bathroom because Banner is like so distraught. One, because Jared bought a date to the SBs and she thought like, he was supposed to wait for her and whatnot. So he brings a date to the SBs and she's upset about that. Not sure why she would be because they're not even in a relationship together since she's, the caretaker of her ex-boyfriend, but whatever. So, Jared ends up going to the bathroom, finding her because she's crying. She's upset that Zoe told everybody that he's in love with her, which is going to make it difficult for them to separate when it comes to time. And then she ends up telling Jared, you know what, I don't care about anything. Let's just be us. I'm going to be done with the Zoe thing. And then her mom walks in and finds out that she's in the bathroom canoodling with Jared and the mom because they came to visit to go to the ESPYs. And mom's like, hello, Zoe is outside saying he's lightheaded. So she runs and leaves the bathroom and Zoe is on the floor and basically almost dies. Long story short, he ends up in the emergency room and the doctor comes out and tells her, you know what, he almost died. He would have died if you didn't tell us, the entirety of his situation so that we can get his medical records, from the place that he was in. So, the mom is upset because the mom knows that she's cheating on Zoe with this guy, and the parents love Zoe, because he speaks Spanish too. Banner is Hispanic. So the mom argues with her in the hospital bed and then calling her a whore and all this stuff. And then Zoe finally wakes up and is like, you know what? Don't talk to her like that. She saved my life. And you know what, Banner? If you want to be with Jared, go be with Jared. I'm just so grateful for everything that you've done for me thus far. Long story short, her and Jared are able to have, a relationship and, so they continue with their relationship while she continues slowly to continue to help, Zoe through, all of his medical issues. So, Banner and Jared get engaged. Zoe ends up, hiring a nurse to take care of him so that he doesn't have to see Banner as much. And, Banner and Jared get married, and Zoe ends up finding a girl of his own. So this story, it was really good. I'm not even gonna lie. I think I binged it in I read the whole thing in 3 days. It was really, really good. But I just could not stand the toxicity of Jared. He was a side piece. He thought he was better than a side piece. I'm so glad that Zoe lived, and I just pray that I just was you know what? I want him to live his best life without Banner. And I hope that Banner, and Jared have a good life. But, like with everything, you just gonna have to reap what you sow, baby. So, all right. This concludes my discourse on Block Shop by Kennedy Ryan. The themes of toxicity, of, just loyalty and, cheating and, trying to follow your heart while doing the right thing. The book was well written. I'm not going to lie. Kennedy Ryan did a good job if she made us hate, not hate is a strong word, but if she makes us dislike Jared the way that we do. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, follow me on TikTok in order to get the shorter versions of these reviews, and I'll be back soon with another one. Thank you. Bye.